Hello from Southern Ontario, June 2nd. I came out this morning to the garbage bin to find curled up sleeping here with her Trudeau mobile home, that being a shopping cart, and her kit sprawled about, sleeping under a blanket on the ground. A young girl I know on the streets here. I'm hoping that's aimed the right way. I recognized her kit and I checked up on her. When you encounter someone like that, you want to make sure they're respirating, and you want to hang out for a while and watch their respiration to make sure it isn't becoming depressed. You know the drug I'm talking about, right? So realizing it was, I'm going to call her Shirley, and that she was sleeping normally. She wasn't on the nod, if you will. I thought, well, I'll just sit here in the car, because I know how difficult it is for the homeless to get sleep, a good, safe and secure sleep. It was fairly early in the morning. Now what Shirley was doing is the early bird gets the worm. She's out collecting cans, anything that's scrappable, barterable, sellable, and this is what she was doing. So I thought, well, I'll just sit here in the car then, doing my rabbit hole research, which I was going to do anyways. So I'm sitting here on the phone doing my thing, and I hadn't seen an elderly, a gentleman had approached the garbage from the other side. He didn't see me in the car. I didn't see him. He woke Shirley up. He didn't know, he's like, hey, are you okay? Like there? Because she's just a little thing and she's under the blanket, and he doesn't really know, what's going on. So as Shirley is awakening, coming across the parking lot is the property manager. So he comes over to see the scene. His concern as Shirley is awakening is the mess. She had her kit kind of sprawled out. And she's awakening, sleepily, but this is not a new situation for her. She's like, no, I'm fine, no worries. Yes, I'll take all my kit. And I step forward. Now the property manager, he follows my channel and we talk often. He was politically naive, and I think he's waking up a little from the channel, and we have discussed the homeless situation as well, just in conversation. So as Shirley was awakening and I interject, I said, hey Shirley, and she said, oh, hey Uncle Carl. So I turned to the manager and I said, well, I'll just tend the situation. So he was good with that, and he kind of nodded at the older gentleman who doesn't know me and doesn't really understand even quite the whole situation. So the property manager assured the elderly gentleman everything was fine, and they went on their way. So as Shirley was awakening and starting to pack her kit up, I said, hey, tell me your story, because although I've talked to her on numerous occasions, I don't know what her story is. I thought she'd have been about 28. She's actually 38, and she's an attractive woman. I'm not that old, but I don't recognize, Now, being attractive is not an asset to the women on the streets, although I'm not going to go any further down that dark alley. I'm sure that doesn't really need explained. So, condensed version of Shirley's story. In 2020, the year of the panda, over the previous, I'm not sure exactly, but year or two, she had lost a sibling, her father and her stepmother. Now, if anyone who's gone through that, it's not only emotionally difficult, it can consume a lot of time and money resources as well. So 2020 comes. She was working as a PSW, PSW, I think PSW. She wasn't accredited, licensed, if that's what they are. She just had a cool gig. She lost it because she refused to do this. And so then she's she was doing house cleaning and trying to get some part-time work. Well, you can remember what it was like from 2020 to 2022. It was stupid. So then what happened in order of things? Well, she became depressed. The doctor prescribed, what's the word I'm looking for? Antidepressants. They would turn out to be opioids. Her doctor retired. This is Canada. You don't get another doctor. You go on a waiting list. So I guess it was 2022. She got a reno eviction. Foreign landlord. A reno eviction being you move out because we're going to fix up the property. They splash a coat of paint on and rent it out for twice the price. Yes, the rise in the cost of living and Trudeau's new normal. So feeling that she didn't have the resources to battle a lawyer through, in Ontario, we have the landlord-tenant board, you go to tribunal, etc. She just felt that that would be flogging a dead horse. So she ends up living in her van. And she owned the van outright. It was paid for. The insurance was paid. Everything was good. But, I mean, she's had less and less work. She's depleted her resources. And, well, I don't think I need to describe the growing depression. So she's living in her van. Excuse me. The van breaks down. And I didn't ask her how she came to the conclusion she needed a battery. So she goes, hikes over to an auto parts outlet to get a battery. She returns. The van has been towed. And it's impounded. She didn't have the money to get the van out of impounding. And she has no one to help her. So she gets her kit out of the van, but she can't get the van out of Hawk. Now she is not only unhoused, as Trudeau calls the people in such a plight, she's without shelter, and she's been on the streets since. And that's Sophie's story, a series of cascading events. And now, of course, well, she has been going through trying to better herself with rehab programs and those, I mean, good intentions sometimes, but sometimes there's some corruption. I'm not going to go into the details of her story over the last 2 years, other than to say we did have a nice chat, and well, I'll leave the rest for another video. That's Shirley's story. Oh, and I have a short clip after this because I took a quick vid as I was approaching Shirley before realizing it was Shirley, in case Shirley wasn't okay. I mean, it just seems prudent, right? And not being able to stitch or put it in the video, I'll just post it in the next video. So I'll leave this video here because it's probably gone on for a while.